Hello and welcome back to the Villa podcast, coming at you again in the awful bloody internet location in Sheffield. But I am here as always with my good friend Dan Wiseman. Dan, how are you doing, mate? You are also in some difficult circumstances with internet, so if this podcast is a bit buggy or this comes out later than you would have expected, again, you've got us to thank for being in the north, basically. But Dan, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm not bad, mate. I'm not bad. Coming at you second day in a row. It can only be transfer season, can't it? God above. It's yeah, mate. What a day. What a day. So much has gone on. We were just talking. I know you've got some stuff to say on the Jack Grealish unveiling. I haven't actually watched it. I know that it's going on at the moment, and the reason I haven't watched it is because I can see the Etihad from where I am in Manchester right now, like outside of my window. You know where I am at Piccadilly, mate. I'm on quite a high floor, so I can see the Etihad. So I'm like trying to completely. I couldn't watch it because that's like way too much. Being in Manchester for one, being able to see the Etihad too, and then watch Jack Grealish, knowing that he's just a few miles away from me. Well, not even that, maybe a couple of kilometers, was just too much. So I've been sat here trying to desperately block it out of my mind, pretend that it's not going on in my peripheral vision. But I know you did tune in, didn't you, mate? And I've seen some tweets, and from what you've been saying on Twitter, mate, you've got some good points to raise.
I'm just, I thought, you know what else are you meant to do when you get in the shower after the gym other than listen to the Jack Grealish press conference? Usually it'd be music, but I thought, you know what? I'll play this out loud. We'll see how this goes. And I mean, for one, I don't know what journalists were let into for the press conference before the unveiling, but oh my God. And you would have seen my tweet, Dan. One of the questions was, will you be wearing anything or will you have anything up to remind you of Villa? Like, you're searching for a headline there, mate. There isn't one. There absolutely isn't one. And
so.
and Jack even said, he says, I don't know what you mean. What are you asking? Like, because it was a bloody awful question and a weird one. If that, you know, it's, as I say, it's certainly looking for a headline, but I find it a bit cringe, Dan. I know he's a British record transfer. I know a lot is being made of that. It's not like he's just, you know, they're unveiling a Galactico, is it? You know, where you see literally tens of thousands packed in the Bernabeu, watching the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema, Luka Modric, Mesut Ozil doing keepy uppies. The unveiling itself, oh man, Jack looks so uncomfortable, and I reluctantly watched the announcement and all the sort of media that came with it at the time when he'd signed for them, and you know, something that my dad picked up on was it kind of hurt because he looks incredibly comfortable when he's in and around. He's wearing the shirt. Like, you want him to feel as uncomfortable as possible, don't you? Because that makes us feel better. But I mean, the fact he looked so, I don't want to say at home, but you know what I mean. He didn't look out of sort in the City shirt. He looked more than comfortable in it. You know, that tells you for the longest time he's been thinking about the move, first of all, but secondly as well, you know, to directly contrast that, watching him walk out of the Colin Bell stands to a crowd of what looked to be only 250 people, screaming his name, the bloke looked very uncomfortable, you know, in stark contrast. And, you know, they've lost the final the other day. Now this, and listen, there's going to be Villa fans all over the timeline saying, oh, he's already regretting it. It's this, it's that. I to a certain extent, yeah, I think he's probably thinking, what have I done? Because I think, as I've said on the podcast, Dan, as I've said to you, as I've said to many people, as I've said to City fans, you know, when I'm talking about the whole situation, Jack will never be adored in the same way at Manchester City or anywhere he goes than he was at Villa Park. I keep calling him Jack. I've decided not to do that. We're not on first name basis. He's like our ex. I'm going to call him Grealish because that is
Mr. J. Grealish.
Yeah, literally Mr. J. Grealish. That is who we're talking about. But yeah, it's seeing how uncomfortable he looked. It made me cringe, but it also is certainly helping me move on with that, Dan, and especially a lot of things that are unraveling now in terms of transfer rumour mills that we are going to be discussing today, Dan. We'll cover that even more. And I think I've just unplugged my microphone. So we're going to carry on talking, Dan. You're going to tell us about the first player, the main. I hope that the podcast picks.
There you go.
Are we back? Could you not hear me at all?
No, we can hear you.
Perfect. There we go. We'll keep rolling. It's fine. It's fine, guys. Sorry, I was just playing with the wire. As you can see, I'm in Sheffield. However, Dan, really, really exciting signing. You know, it was only last night. It was, you know, it was not even 24 hours ago, Dan. We were sat down talking about Axel Tuanzebe and where he would potentially fit in at Villa. Both of us feel he could have potentially filled in that number 6 role, depending on the formation which Dean plays. However, Dan, today Aston Villa have been linked with RC Lens holding midfielder Cheick Doucouré. Now, this is a very exciting one, Dan. It seems to be moving very quick, so it's good that we've actually been able to get on this while it's still relatively hot and fresh for you guys. Tell me about Doucouré, Dan. Another industrious 6 from the Ligue 1. And unlike Sarr, I mean, this one seems to be moving fast.
Yeah, mate, it does. I don't know what goes on in that league. What do they feed these French African holding midfielders? Because they're just growing. I don't like they seem to crop up every other week. There's another starlet coming out of France in that position. And Cheick Doucouré is a really exciting player. I've seen a lot of Villa fans sort of hampering for Yves Bissouma of Brighton, but these guys came through at the same academy in Mali. So, I mean, there's a similarity there. There's a similarity. It's a really prestigious academy in Mali, produced the likes of Amadou Haidara, Adama Traoré, I said Yves Bissouma, and a lot of other Mali internationals have come through there. And it's a hotbed for talent, really. And he's a player that plays as a sort of defensive central midfielder, can also slot into centre-back. What's interesting is he plays with a left foot, often on the left side of a centre-back pairing if he's playing there, but he has played on the right for Lens this season, notched up a total of 34 games across all competitions this season, which is impressive because he's one of these Gen Z footballers, mate. He's one of these ones where I can't believe a 2000 born player. They're becoming increasingly common now, and I don't know how I feel about it. Stands quite tall, about 5'10", 5'11", so he's not quite. A lot of fans, including myself, wanted a 6 foot plus presence in that midfield. But with that height, he brings with him a strong core, a very low center of gravity. He's very mobile. You watch clips of this guy; he's got really impressive athleticism. He's something like in that position. You have a lot of hip rotations and turning on the shoulder and stuff like that. Given how you play in the 6 and his body style and his athleticism lends himself really nicely to that position. It means he can dribble really nicely. He's got good ball control, really nice vision. You've seen a lot of Villa fans ranting and raving about this guy, and rightly so, because there's a lot to be excited about here. And if Villa were to get this guy in, as you say, it's moving quite quickly. I think he would fit really nicely. Good passing percentage as well, about 82.3%. Averages about 9.8 progressive passes per game. There's a lot to like about this guy's game. And whilst I think it might take him a little while to produce those kind of numbers in the Premier League, we have the other players whereby we can rotate him in and out, make him comfortable. And hopefully we get to see the best of this guy if he does come, because there's a lot to like about Cheick Doucouré.
Absolutely. And Dan, just to pick up on something that you said and something we even discussed last night is again, the flexibility in positions. Villa have signed players this season, with maybe the exception of Danny Ings, but given the relentlessness and the work rate, he covers every single blade of grass in that final third. Villa have signed players consistently throughout this transfer window that can play in at least 2 positions, which is very important, especially as there were some whispers of Hermanso from Atletico Madrid being linked today. If we hear some more, we'll go sort of deep dive into the Hermanso links, because I don't personally see that, because what that would mean for Tyrone Mings, I'm really not sure. However, Dan Doucouré, very exciting, got an 86.9% pass completion rate, averaging 5.6 progressive carries, Dan, per 90, and the really impressive stats that you want to see, how they break up the play, averaging 3.01 tackles per 90 alongside with 1.82 interceptions per 90. Very good numbers, very impressive numbers. Again, you got to consider the age. He's kind of been fast tracked into first team football as well. It's just an incredibly exciting signing, and for the reported fee of only 15 million euros, if Villa can get this over the line, this would be a very big signing for this position specifically, for looking ahead the next 3, 4, 5 years. I would say I think with Pape Matar Sarr, Villa were insistent they weren't paying over 18 million euros for the guy. And with conversations we had off air yesterday, Dan, I think it's fair to say that Villa will not be overpaying for absolutely anybody. And if you can get this guy for 15 million euros, I think that's an absolute snippet, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, especially when you consider that, he's in contract until June 2024. So that has to be factored in. We're paying out quite a big contract here. And especially when you've seen really prestigious young talents come out of Liga. And usually, as you say, mate, it's a hotbed where you could go and pick up talents on the cheap. Not so much nowadays. If you look at the guys that have come out of France in recent years, the most high profile case is probably Victor Osimhen. Whilst it's not that kind of level player, that sides in France are starting to realise that they can't be done dirty with those transfer fees. They can demand what they want for their players. And this guy looks like a very bright talent. He plays in a side as well that Lens like to press a lot. They're one of Ligue 1's top pressing teams. If you look at the statistics, sort of plays in that 3-4-1-2 formation, which lends itself to sort of this swarm of Lens players which press at the pitch. It's quite something when you get to see it. And so that I like as well. And I think, to sort of put it into perspective for Villa fans, you've sort of got a lot of the Nakamba qualities defensively with some of the ball playing abilities of a Douglas Luiz. I think a lot of Villa fans have wanted to sort of combine those two players in recent years, haven't we? If you wanted to get the best of Marvelous and the best of Douglas, put them together, you get quite a player. And whilst I'm not saying that's exactly what Doucouré is, you get a bit of both with those two players. And I think it will be interesting what we do with Nakamba, because stylistically they play in similar positions. They're a similar build. I don't think, obviously, Doucouré is probably superior on the ball to Nakamba and has age on his side, as I said, at just 21 years old. So there's similarities between those two players. Will they be? They are probably too similar to play alongside each other. They will give good competition, but it will be interesting to see what happens with Marv, because again, mate, he's one of those players that didn't put a foot wrong last season. I was really impressed with Marvelous. And so, I completely believe in the nature of competition, and I've been calling the whole time for a defensive midfielder. It's just interesting that we've gone with someone that's seemingly of quite a similar ilk to Marv, who did do pretty well last season.
I think if you're looking to sort of mix the two with Dougie and Marv, it does lend itself to the formations that have been playing pre-season, 4-4-2 as recently as the other day. You want your midfielder to be industrious, get around the pitch, but also have that ability to unlock defenses with passes, sometimes from deep, because, you would imagine of whoever the midfield pairing is, that Doucouré would be the sort of deeper lying, at times the one looking to receive the ball on the half turn and instigate them attacks. So in a 4-4-2, there's a lot of pressure on your two central midfielders, and just being a very good all-rounder, I think is really important. So I think, again, that lends itself to the fluidity in which Dean wants with his substitutes. I do think we're gonna honestly start the season with 4-3-3, but ever since January it's been 4-4-2 at 60 minutes, hasn't it, Dan? So that's something that I think Dean has bared in mind with his recruitment. And I think you've just got to look as well. Atalanta are after him, Dan, and everybody knows Gianpiero Gasparini's Atalanta side are just absolutely wonderful. So if you're going after a player that Gasparini wants, I think it's safe to say he will absolutely do bits for Villa, Dan. So I think from the both of us, I think this is a very exciting signing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Almost as exciting, Dan, as the next player who you guys will have seen. It's been floating around for a few days now. Lazio's Joaquin Correa, the Argentinian forward, has been linked with a move to Aston Villa, and also this morning actually to Inter Milan. Those rumours have popped up since Lukaku is seemingly on his way back to Chelsea. There's talks of Edin Dzeko coming in as well at Inter. So maybe that lends itself to Lautaro Martinez leaving the club as well. If it seems like Barcelona are linked with him every week. But Joaquin Correa, Dan, this guy is seriously exciting. He played 28 times in Serie A last year with 8 Champions League games as well, and 11 goals and 5 assists across all comps. A very exciting and versatile Argentinian forward. Again, important to preface the nation because we are forming quite a nice little Argentinian contingency at the club, aren't we, Dan? It seems like Aston Villa are now the go-to side for these Argentinian ballers when they are landing on English shores. And I mean, Dan, Correa is such an exciting player. He's, right-footed. We've seen him play off the right, down the middle, in a 10, and the stats are really exciting. 81.6 pass completion rate. That puts him within the top 8 percentile of forwards over the past year. He's receiving about 11 progressive passes per 90. Again, tells you very much Lazio do like to play through this guy. And he's attempted about 34 passes per 90 as well. So, he's trying to create a lot. The assists aren't quite up there, but he's overperformed when you look at his expected assists, which is actually a total of only 3.5, considering he only got 5. With pair that with the 86 shot creating actions in the Serie A last season and 16 goal creating actions specifically. This guy, whether bona fide starter, absolute stalwart of a rotation player, Dan, we're building quite the forward line at Villa, aren't we?
Yeah, mate, this is one to get excited about if it comes off. And whilst I've seen a lot of Villa fans sort of writing it off, saying that he's going to Inter, there's something about the relationship between these two clubs, and it's really interesting that's going on at the moment, which means Lazio are going to be desperate to sell to anyone that isn't Inter Milan. And so you guys that follow Serie A, I know there's a lot of you that will be watching will know that Antonio walked out of the San Siro, or the Stadio Giuseppe, in the summer, and was replaced by Lazio's manager, Inzaghi. But Inzaghi had a deal with Lazio verbally that he would remain in the capital. And so when Inzaghi then walked out on that deal to go and manage Inter Milan, one of Lazio's fierce title rivals, the chairman or the owner of Lazio made quite a public point. He vowed to never do business with Inter Milan. That was it. He would never do business with them. And so there's a lot of interest from Inter Milan in Correa, but Lazio have now put what is called an Inzaghi tax on any Lazio players that Inter Milan want to buy. So whereas Lazio would be willing to sell Correa, rumoured about 35 million euros, so between 25 and 30 million pounds. But if you're Inter Milan, you have to pay 10 million pounds more. So that's the situation that's going on between these two clubs. And so if literally anybody comes in and stumps up the cash for Correa, Lazio should accept it, because they do not want to be helping out Inzaghi and the Nerazzurri, because they feel really hard done by what Inzaghi did over the summer. And so Correa as well is seemingly looking to make a move out. He's starting to feel like, it's rumoured that he's starting to feel that he's becoming he's falling down the pecking order at Lazio. You've got Ciro Immobile, you've got Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, you've got Luis Alberto, who's probably leapfrogged him in recent years. And so he's such a brilliant player that isn't really getting the credit he deserves. So he's rumoured to be looking to move out. And as long as he doesn't end up playing in blue and black, I think you've got a chance of signing this guy.
It's really exciting, isn't it, Dan? And I think if you look at the heat maps on SofaScore, you see he does like to operate in them kind of spaces in between the fullbacks and the centre halves. Actually, a lot on the left as well, which is again another position that he has played in quite regularly. And SofaScore have him valued at 28 million euros. It seems down the going rate for Villa players is 30 million pounds. So it seems like it would probably be a 30 million pound bid that gets him out of the capital, as you said, mate. But coming in from that left with his right foot sounds a bit familiar, Dan, doesn't it? Someone who's very technical on the ball, likes to receive the ball in high spaces, and is just in general just a wonderfully stylish player. And again, even going back 6 to 12 months ago, Dan, to be linked with a player of the caliber of Joaquin, you wouldn't have thought it was possible, would you? This is seriously showing the strides that this club has taken, and the fact it's moving along as it is. Ashley Priest has been reporting on it as well. Just goes to demonstrate that Villa really do mean business, don't they, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. You know, for me, I think when I look at these rumors, it's not so much as I'm desperate to sign them. I'm just happy to see us linked with this caliber of player, as you say, mate. It's one of those where it's just so much fun transfer season at the moment. You know, I love that I'm not having to research players anymore and convince myself that they're going to do well. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know them, you're like, oh, he would do really well. It's not like, you know, when we signed Samata, for example, I spent ages trawling through his highlights and his stats and his tactical recommendations, just begging to find myself something that will go, okay, that might work. It's good that you don't have to do that anymore. And so, yeah, like, whilst it'd be interesting to see if we do sign Correa. I mean, that forward line would look just so stacked if we did. So I think we are going to lend ourselves to players like Doucouré that we're talking about, those more defensive-minded ones. But hey, you know, it's great to be involved in these games, mate. And yeah, let's play ball, mate.
Absolutely. The rotation options are potentially just absolutely frightening, Dan. And you know, again, just goes to show the intent from the owners, from Dean, from Langus, just some brilliant recruitment so far this season, and certainly signing Correa, I think, you know, that completely takes Jack Grealish out of anyone's minds. But guys, you will have to let us know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on the two signings. What do you think? It's a thumbs up from both me and Dan on both of these guys, but we'd love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. We are, I believe, 7 subscribers off 4,500, Dan, which is absolutely amazing. We said when we get to 5K, we'll do a shirt giveaway. So we're about 500 off. I know there's going to be 500 of you guys watching this podcast right now on YouTube that aren't subscribed. So make sure you do subscribe and you hit the little bell icon to make sure you receive all notifications from us here at Heart of the Holte. And as I said, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe for more. Holte the Villa.